Order your copy of The Consultant Next Door today with the link below.
You want me to teach you what financial leverage is? It's getting something you didn't pay for. So when we go out and buy real estate, a lot of times what we'll do on the back end is we'll backfill that money back out, and we will get a $150,000 piece of real estate for $30,000. So that's leverage. We didn't pay for the other 120. Now raise your hand if you know what financial leverage means. I was like, if I have to explain it again, I will. The second type is operational leverage. Financial leverage is getting something you did not pay for. Operational leverage is getting something you did not work for. You guys like that? Just up here wheeling and dealing right now. Financial leverage is getting something you didn't pay for. Operational leverage is getting something you did not work for. Tommy, you want to put your hand up in the air right over there? This is Tommy. So he is over all operations, and part of his job is making sure that there's leverage inside of our operations. That means people are clear on what their job is. They're clear on how to do their job. Sometimes if you want to fix things operationally, it's not that things aren't getting done, it's that they're not getting done on time. So like all of the clarity aspects, profit engineering, and making sure we're not overstaffed, and all of the things that include a well-oiled machine. And the idea here is that as the CEO or whatever you want your role to be, you have leverage inside of the system. So like a vehicle going 65 miles an hour that's in 6th gear, you have speed without redline. Imagine a car going 65 miles an hour in 2nd gear. That thing's gonna blow up. It's redlining. You get the analogy? Absolutely. So the better your operations gets, it allows an organization to move faster without necessarily redlining the whole time.
Makes sense. So if I want to go out and find my own Tommy, what are some attributes of someone, or how would I phrase that, like messaging to bring on that individual? What should I be looking for?
That would be a Tommy question.
Yeah, I think it really depends on your industry, but I think I think you're going to be really well suited if you have somebody that has worked in a lot of different areas. You ask questions like, what are the problems that you're having, in several parts of the business, and this person needs to be able to understand, how things are functioning in the marketing team, in the sales team, as well as back-end operations, finance, hiring, everything, right? They need to understand holistically. I have no idea how to run ads and how to run a marketing team or do anything related to the sales team, but I need to understand what their problems are because I need to be able to support them. So I really think that it's going to be somebody that has, ideally worked in and worked for a lot of these different areas. And people either get it or they don't. So when I ask questions, for entry-level, mid-level, or managers, I want to ask, tell me about how a process works. And I want them to be able to articulate not just the things in their wheelhouse. They need to be able to understand how the different teams interact with them. So again, it's a very, very vague response, but it doesn't matter, frankly, what industry somebody's coming out of. If they're able to think that way, that's the most important thing that they need to understand, because then we can teach them how our stuff works and we can, apply that to our business, but they have to think that way in the first place. And if they don't, it's the wrong person. And then of course, somebody that's motivated, somebody that's intelligent, and wants to help others. They need to be well-spoken and outgoing. Those are very, very strong attributes. But really, we do not, discriminate by industries or companies. We really don't care. It doesn't matter. It's all about that person and that personality that, that they understand those kinds of things and they can think that way. Preferably somebody that has been in a smaller organization and a bigger one, because you can see, the different types of problems that they have at those different types of companies. So having exposure to both, I think, is a huge win, because they can pull, pros and cons from both of those types of environments. So those are kind of some good starting points.
One other thing I think is confidence. So when we sat out with Tommy, the very first time he was like, "Oh, I can fix everything in this business. Just watch what I can do." We were like, "Okay, down," because no other person that we had talked to operationally, they were all kind of weird. They didn't have any. It's true. Like they were just kind of like weaker. You know, they weren't really driven. So Tommy was kind of like a, you know, like a salesperson personality, but in operations. So I think if you can find that confidence too, you know, they've probably got the backgrounds.
Order your copy of The Consultant Next Door today with the link below.